Dreamers, believers, purposeful beings. Unfortunately, we were having problems logging on to IGTV Live. Sometimes those things happen. So let's record this and then post it, and you get the same content. So today we're going to discuss two very specific things. Empathy, right? Empathy, very critical, very critical, very critical. And the customer-centric approach, right? So let's start with empathy. And before we start with empathy, here's a statistic that I want you to really think about while we're going forward today. And that's 50% of all small businesses fail after 5 years, right? Within the first year, 20% of them fail. There's a reason for that, right? You either got into the market when it was hot. And so while the market was hot, your business did very well. You got into a market that was very popular at the time, right? And so what happens is you don't draw upon the real baselines of what creates a good business. And that's having great procedures, having templates in place, having that brand ideology and channel partnering and creating those networks and putting all those back end things in order so that you are fiscally responsible, making good decisions and staying on your daily. So just keep in mind about those things during times like this, right? Because it's the procrastination that kills businesses. Being proactive and gathering these skill sets, that's really good, what's going to make you separate yourself from the rest of the pack. That's just how it is. So let's talk about empathy and why empathy is so critical. And if you think about empathy, think about just listening, right? It's something that we don't do anymore. Unfortunately, it's just a lost art. And that's why so many business coaches go into corporate settings and teach empathy. It's actually the first element in design thinking, right? Which is a huge marketing form of the scientific method, right? What is the first thing you do? You listen to the client, right? So the first approach of any interaction is to build rapport. And you build rapport by actually understanding the client, the prospective B2B partner, and listening to their pain points. What's the situation? What's going on, right? How can I help you? And then just shut up and listen. It is so simple. It is such a simple application. Yet, so many people find it unfathomable to do it. So first step, just listen, right? Just listen, right? And what do you do when you listen? You're identifying and strategizing on how you're going to identify those pain points through your service or product. So what you want to do is start narrowing the conversation. You want to steer the client towards your service or product by your ability to listen, right? Engage them and think about ways that you could strategize and get them to start thinking about your product as the solution to their problem. Why do I talk backwards? It happens, right? So that's really the idea here, right? Creating empathy, right? Listening, creating that rapport, right? Not hard selling, just providing those solutions a little bit at a time. Hey, have you tried this, right? What if you've done this? What was your experience doing that? Lead them to your solution, right? That's the only way your client is ever going to be your client. And it's going to separate the prospective client from the actual client. The major difference is they buy into your solution. They buy into the solution because you've circumnavigated them to that idea that, guess what? That was your idea. Hey, you know what? I actually have that service or product, right? Is it manipulative? No, it's a buy-in. They actually have to believe that they came to that solution on their own, right? You can't tell people what to do in this world. Just try it. Doesn't work, right? And why is empathy so different and so important as a small business owner? And it's just the idea of you're the point of contact, right? And we'll talk about this when we talk about the customer-centric approach as well. You're the point of contact, right? You're not Optimum. You're not Verizon. You're not getting a third party in China or India responding to you. Or if even if you get a human being, right, that you've won already, because you usually just get an automated service. No, when a client calls you as a small business owner, they speak to you, right? You're accountable at all times. So empathy, right? So that you guys align each other, so you can align yourselves to the same goal, right? That you're both striving to get to an end goal, right? And that strategy has been outlined because you've had the empathy developed, the rapport is there, and the design thinking aspects of how to get there and that solution is there. And you have a clear way of getting there, right? So what are 3 tips I could give you to help you in empathy, right? The first one is onboarding, right? When you onboard somebody, you should have a questionnaire, right? Just as you're building the rapport, right? And listening, follow up with an email and have a questionnaire, a prospective client questionnaire, and just outline how your services could affect them and effectuate their outcomes in a positive vertical by having the solutions in the questions themselves, right? And so it's really critical to gather that data so that it narrowly tailors your future leanings towards who you are engaging with, right? If you know your marketplace, right, and you know who's more susceptible to engaging you and actually hiring you, then that's wonderful data to have, right? That's target marketing, as opposed to there's a million people that'll watch you on YouTube, a million people that'll watch you on Instagram, but who's actually a Patreon? Who's actually paying for the services? That's a huge difference, right? Somebody who just passively watches and who's actively engaged, right? So the first one, client questionnaires. Second one, serving aces, right? Serving aces, it's tennis, right? The interaction between a prospective client and yourself is playing tennis. Always throw the ball in their court. Always serve. Always serve. And if they serve, return to serve as soon as possible. Backhand even, right? Get in the habit of always throwing the ball back in their court. It is so much easier to be on top of your business and having everybody else awaiting their responses, right? Than somebody waiting for your response. Because here's the truth of the matter. When somebody has to do something, man, they're going to take their time. But if they need something, if you need something from them, good luck. You're going to have to call them, be persistent. They don't do it, right? Procrastinators. There's a reason why people get into the ruts that they get into. There's 2 different types of business owners, the procrastinator and the proactive winner, right? And it's a huge misnomer in the arena of businesses that, you don't want to be persistent, you don't want to be nagging. Serving aces, huge component of winning and a winning strategy. The third one is exit interviewing, right? Why did your client move on, right? Was it location? Was it pricing? Was it a better deal somewhere else? Gather that data, right? The best data is the data that says, this is the reasons why it didn't work with you. Your product lacked this, and that, right? You're servicing blah, 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 right? It's important to get that feedback because the worst feedback is you're awesome. You're great. Man, I really enjoyed the experience. Well, what does that do for my business? How do I strategize with that type of feedback? How do I grow my business with that feedback? I'm awesome. I don't got to do anything, right? Be critical and make your clients critical of your service or product. Make them be honest, transparent. That's how you build empathy because you are transparent. They will tell you the truth. They feel comfortable talking to you in that manner and being transparent in that way. So empathy, first thing. Brand-centric, let's move on. Brand-centric versus customer-centric approaches. Here's the truth of the matter. Here's the truth. You're not Nike. You're not Adidas. Nobody cares about your brand, right? Nobody's throwing on a $500 t-shirt with your brand on it because nobody cares about your brand, right? So it has to be a customer-centric approach. It has to be the approach that says, you know what? It's all about you. How do I best service you, right? And that approach is going to win 9 out of 10 times. Why? Because it's all about the client feeling good about the service or product that you're providing. You don't even have to be 100% great at your service or product, but your customer-centric approach, right? Your servicing, your ability to listen, right? Your ability to engage, your ability to always be there for your client. That's so huge. That's tantamount to being great at what you do because let's face it, you did your business. You don't really try anymore. Okay, I'm judging. But it's important. It's important to have that approach. right? Because we talked about it a little bit before, being that point of contact, right? You're the point of contact. They're going to reach out to you, right? They're going to get you on the phone, right? They don't get Mark Zuckerberg on the phone when they have a problem with Facebook. I can't call Facebook and talk to Mark Zuckerberg and say, hey, listen, my IGTV live feed, there's a poor connection. There's something on your back end. Fix it. It's not happening. I'm talking to an automated system and they'll get back to me in 72 hours. That's not the truth in small businesses, right? So you need to surround yourself with a network of people that think the same way and approach business that same way, that understand that every client is their ad, right? That is the newspaper clipping. That is the good feedback, right? Every client is your national ad campaign, right? And so every single interaction needs to be on point. You need to be so customer-centric that they want to refer you to other people. They want to talk good about you. They want to give you a testimonial. They do want to give you that exit interview. They want to be honest because they want to see you succeed because you are so in tune with providing them the best possible service that you can, right? Customer-centric approaches are always going to be the way to go, right? You will have that instilled brand loyalty when you have a customer-centric approach because that's inevitably what happens, right? Somebody loves your servicing, loves their attention to detail, and then they refer you business. That's brand loyalty, right? And so if you start with the brand ideology and say, you need our services because we're just dope, you're going to lose because nobody cares, especially when money's tight. Look at the economy now, right? If you didn't put that time into creating those relationships, to having that instilled brand loyalty through your customer-centric approach, then you're probably struggling right now because people are saying, you know what? I don't have a great rapport with that business. I'd rather try it myself. I'd rather go with somebody else who's cheaper, right? You have to instill that ideology. You have to build that rapport. You have to build that trust with your client, right? Empathy, customer-centric approaches. This is what wins at the end of the day. It is the difference between being busy right now and not busy right now. It is such a huge part of why staying on your daily really focuses on each individual client as a lifestyle brand, right? You want to portray that lifestyle brand of my servicing is the best in the community, right? I'm a subject matter expert. I'm the best at what I do. And even on top of knowing that I'm the best at what I do, I provide the best customer experience, right? I'm always there for you. You call me on a weekend, hey, I want to be there. I want to win. I'm going to be there for you, right? You want me to go to your house and sign the documents instead of you coming to my office? Guess what? I'm going to do it, right? You want me to help you, carry your groceries? Guess what? I'm going to do it. So that's extreme, but that is the mindset of a customer-centric approach, right? And in times like this, when all you got is Zoom calls to do, that's what wins. Stay in your daily.